Seriously, little people. This is the Ubermacht Sentinel GTS, and I'm about to find out if it'll off-road. That rather boisterous intro was brought to you by all of the people that you can see directly ahead of me there, along with myself. This, in case you missed it in the title or the thumbnail, is the 250th episode of Will It Offroad. So I thought, let's do a few special things today. One of which was having everybody that's taking part help introduce the videos. So I put a warning at the very beginning with the pretty picture of the mountain. It was all nice and serene, and then you went to that. But hey, I did warn you, so you can't say you weren't told. Anyway, yeah, 250 episodes of this series. During the intermission, I am going to talk a little bit more about the history, so I won't get into it right now. By the way, there are timestamps down below for this car, the next car, and then the intermission in between. So if you don't want to hear me ramble for about 4 or 5 minutes about the history and community and all that, you can skip it by using the chapter markers in the video. You won't hurt my feelings whatsoever. So let's talk about what you're looking at right now. In the top left-hand corner, we have Commander Hobo's view. In the top right-hand corner, we have an OG. Hobo's an OG at this point as well. He's been around as long as pretty much anybody else, but one of the original ones from way back, even in my Xbox 360 days. Not gonna wreck it. And then in the middle, making a very welcome return, is Charlie, the guy formerly known as NFM Racing that you've seen in plenty of my other previous community videos. Now I think it's Cowboy Charlie. I don't know. There were like 2 different names in Discord, and now I'm confused. I think in game it's Charlie Jimu. I don't know how to say it. I think it means Charlie in gaming. Anyways, that's the views that you have. Charlie's is cropped in just a little bit. Unfortunately, he forgot to turn off his face cam. It's up in the top right-hand corner of his videos, so we're just cropped in a little bit tighter on Charlie's view. And honestly, I don't know that it's a bad thing, because you kind of get to see his perspective a little bit more clearly. And then, of course, down at the bottom in almost a widescreen format, drop down just a teeny tiny bit so you can see a bit more of it, is me. That's my perspective. So that lets you know who's who, and now in all that time we've gotten this car to the top of the mountain because it's a good one. It wasn't that big of a struggle, other than the fact the back end wanted to keep coming all the way around on me, and I'd really had to fight it. But we're up in 2 minutes 35 seconds. So will it off-road? Yes. Yes, well, I wanted the delay because of the fireworks, but I forgot to think of it for a little while. Do you think they're over and they keep going? I told you we want to do a couple special things to celebrate that this is a milestone event for Will It Offroad with 250 videos. So we have fireworks. We have the intro, we have fireworks, and there is yet more to come. There is some interesting stuff. Not just the intermission where we talk about the history and all that, but there's more than that coming as well. Criminal damage was going, but I don't have the dollar total. Traffic jam down at the bottom right because I had turned off the HUD, not the minimap, just the HUD, for something that is going to happen later in the video, and I just hadn't turned it back on yet. This is actually the second car that we recorded in a session, but we've got them flipped orders for reasons. But let's talk stats for the Sentinel GTS. That 235.44 makes it, out of 487 vehicles, 63rd. Not too bad. When Will It Offroad first started, man, 230 would have been like a #1 car. But now, not so much. It is 0.183 seconds slower than the Vapid Dominator GT, and it is 0.117 seconds faster than the Benefactor BR8. Did I say slower than the Vapid Dominator? That's what I meant if I didn't say it, but I'm pretty sure I did. Man, I'm taking out guys. It's like nuts. Out of 94 sports cars that we've tested, oops, I've fallen over. It is 16th. It is 0.383 seconds slower than the Invetero Coquette D5 and 0.117 seconds faster than the Dinka Jester RR wide body. In terms of money fronts, which we are currently on the money front season for one more video, and then we'll have one off-road at the races. This is 1.33 seconds slower than the Grotti LSCM Cheetah Classic, putting it in 6th out of 10 cars we've tested, and 4.717 seconds faster than the Annis Minimus. Sorry for the silence. I needed a little drink of water. So, yeah, the Ubermacht Sentinel GTS seems like it's right at home. Like, the only real struggle I had, and it just happened there, is that tail end just kept wanting to come around, and I just had to struggle with it a lot to keep it behind me instead of it coming all the way around. It managed a couple times, but for the most part, pretty successful. It's a car I like, but we are down in 2 minutes 30 seconds. We've got 6 people here. We're going to let them get their jumps. There was a truck in the way, but Sven is in a revolter, so he should have no trouble knocking the truck out of the way so that everybody else can get a jump. We're going to speed the footage up here a little bit in just a moment after we see Sven's jump, and let Rocket get all lined up for his, and made a very Raven-like choice. Raven from our community, by the way, not the actual bird. And, wow, okay, a guy got something in my car. And then it is Charlie's turn in his big Vapid Guardian. I love the Guardian. It's one of the earliest vehicles I tested in World Offroad. And look at that! What a landing as Rocket up and atomizes himself back onto the highway. So we're back at the top for our damage descent, where we take the cars and fling them off the side of the mountain for rigorous scientific research, where we are studying structural integrity in automobiles and how to improve their safety should you too happen to fall off the side of the mountain. This is all for your benefit. All of this research that we do, all of the data points that we collect, it goes into making the cars safer to do really stupid shit in. Plus, it's a lot of fun to like have all these body panels like just filling up the mountain. Look at it, there's so many. At one point, I think it's in the next car. At one point, I get a little stuck, and there were so many body panels, like out of, ooh, that was a good boot. Out of the corner of my eye, I thought there was somebody waiting for me to get unstuck, and it was just a pile of body panels that were sitting there. That my brain, there was so many, my brain just registered it as, that's a car. So yeah, it's just nuts how many body panels are on the mountain. I don't know how I pulled that off. They were stuck. I don't really remember what happened. I watched it during editing the video, but I think Charlie came back over, landed on Sven, and then got stuck and pointed those down. Somehow, though, I managed to squeak right through. I don't know how I did it. I'm gonna chalk it up to skill. Yeah, that's it. I am just a phenomenal driver. So, up and over the woodpile, kind of, not really. So I don't know, we'll count that as a half a successful attempt. But we're down 141.22. Let's take a look after everybody gets down here. We'll take a look at the damage on the Sentinel GTS. Maybe. Yep. Still, there we go. All of the windows and lights are gone. Both bumpers are missing, along with the hood, the right fender, and the passenger side doors. They are all up there on Mount Chiliad. The truck and doors won't close, has bent wheels and body damage. There are support vehicles from the front, and then again from, yep, Vainglorious community from the rear. And that is going to bring us to a short intermission. And this intermission is a bit more scripted because I want to talk for a moment about the history of the series, but first I want to briefly talk about something even more important. The Vainglorious community means the world to me. I often say that the behind the scenes version of World Offroad and our other community centric videos is the better version because instead of my commentary, you get to hear our Discord conversation and see some of the outtakes and other bits that are edited out of the public version of the videos. Maybe I think those are the better versions because of what that time means to me. Getting everyone together to record a video is a bright spot in my week, and then getting to play it all back again as I edit the videos together brings me a great deal of joy, something I don't experience a lot. I don't talk about it a lot, but I struggle with depression and anxiety. I don't mean to get all heavy and dark, rather, I want to say that I truly appreciate each and every person you see in these videos, and though words fail me to properly communicate it, they keep me going throughout each day. Our community may be small, our Discord often quiet, but I will forever be grateful for this group of people that I call the Vainglorious community. So, the history of Will It Offroad. The series started one night as my friend, Non-Credit Rocket, and I were just hanging out in a GTA Online lobby. The group I played with back then enjoyed getting together and taking some trucks off-roading. It was a fun challenge, and we got to explore parts of the GTA 5 map that most people never see. That night, we decided we wanted to see how well the Enis Cognoscenti would perform on the mountain, and once we got it to the top, decided to see if it would explode on the way back down. It was a car that not many people would think to take off-roading. When we were finished, I thought, this could be a good series. So the next day I reran the same car up and down the mountain, but recorded it this time and put the video up on YouTube as the first in a new series. I figured it would maybe stick around for a couple months worth of videos. And here we are, 9 years, 249 videos, and 487 cars later, celebrating the 250th episode with fireworks and good friends. Each new update to GTA Online brings a new season for the series, with each season wrapping up with us racing the 2 fastest and the 2 slowest up and down the mountain. Plus, there is a special Will It Offroad in the Snow seasonal series that runs each year for 4 to 5 weeks once the snow arrives in GTA Online. In the 5th ever episode of the series, I open up the vehicle selection to community voting, and that is how I chose the cars for each video for nearly 2 years. Interest in voting eventually subsided, so I switched gears and started featuring the latest cars from updates along with older cars from my collection. But the series started to feel a bit of a slog, week after week, just the same thing. And that is when Will It Offroad switched to being broken down to seasons that are centered around new updates. We will still include some older vehicles now and then, but it is mostly just the newer stuff. The video between episodes 6 and 7, so I guess it would be 6.5, introduced a few changes to the series. Most notable was the now familiar, and I'm about to find out if it'll off-road intro, and the addition of the controlled descent, though the original descent followed a different path for a while for a handful of episodes before it took on the form you see today. In episode 7, some friends joined me in the lobby, though they were never on the mountain with me. That might have just been the earliest moment when a community element for the video was present. In episode 11, Commander Hobo followed me up the mountain, beginning the idea of the support vehicles. It would take a while before that became a regular thing, and even longer before I started including shots of other players' cars at the end of each damage descent. Not really sure when that tradition started, and, well, I'm not going to go through all 249 videos to figure it out. I mainly wanted to highlight some of the key moments that shaped Will It Offroad into the series that it is today. It has gone from being something that was equal parts a tongue-in-cheek, goofy send-up of legitimate performance testing, using cars that were wildly inappropriate for climbing a mountain, but also with a small element of some more actual legit testing for more competent vehicles, to becoming a community event. I forget when that transition happened exactly, but I'm really glad it did. Had it been just me driving cars up and down the mountain on my own, I doubt the series would have lasted 6 months. And that's how Will It Offroad began. And that brings us to our next vehicle, the Dewbauchee Rapid GT X. Yes, just a phenomenal looking car that I have yet to find a color scheme that I really like. I love this livery, but I just cannot find a color that I love with the livery, so not really sure what I'm going to do about that. So yeah, I was talking about community earlier. And I didn't fail to mention it. I just wanted to do it a little less scripted. In the middle, the viewpoint is Charlie, and he has been missing from videos for probably coming up on 2 years now. And long story short, without getting into the full drama and everything, there was a falling out. A few people left the Vainglorious community. And, you know, it was just some things happened that we had some rules against, and I went pretty hard on these are the rules, zero flexibility side of things. Some people on the other side responded poorly to that. You know, people just, you know, didn't react as well as we could have. But I take full responsibility for my own behavior because I wound up carrying a grudge for a long time. Sparing Donkey had mentioned to me that Charlie was saying about maybe coming back, and my initial reaction was no. But then I realized, after thinking about it later that day, that's wrong. That's just such a poor way to go through life, with just carrying a grudge and not forgiving. And you know, I can admit when I'm wrong, and that was wrong of me to hold that stance. So when it came time for the 250th, I asked Donkey to reach out to Charlie, as well as someone else who had left to beat me, and Charlie graciously agreed. He's back. He's even participating on the Vainglorious Discord server a little bit now. And Charlie, I'm glad you're back, and once again, I'm sorry that I was a complete asshole and held a grudge for so long. Because, hey, look, we get to look at your excellent Dominator now. I mean, win-win situation, right? Community has you back. We get to look at your Dominator. So it all works out. The Rapid GT X does fine up the mountain. It just, you know, it's one of the sports cars that has just enough power that it'll spin its wheels, so you have to be careful with throttle modulation. It also, being a newer sports car, gets slowed down by bushes, which is frustrating. I really hope that goes away in GTA 6. I understand if you, like, ditch yourself into a massive shrubbery, but just a little scrub bush? No. That's not going to slow you down and pull your car off to the right or the left or whatever direction it happen to be. It's just dumb. But yeah, you know, a fine time. We're up in 2 minutes, 38 seconds. So, will it off-road? God, that was cool. I love it. I'm like, every time I watch it, we did it twice, and that's my favorite of the two shots. I just think it's cool. We had a jet fly over for will off-road. But yeah, it will off-road. So, real quick, on to the stats as we begin our controlled descent. Out of 487 vehicles, it's 83rd. And if you were looking at the times, the difference between the Sentinel GTS and this is just 3.07 seconds. So in that 3 seconds that are separating today's cars, there are 19 vehicles that are on the spreadsheet that occupy those 3 seconds. This territory of Will It Off-Road, that 2.5 to 245, is just crammed full of cars that are just separated by tiny, tiny little increments. As an example, with this being 83rd, the 82nd car is the Obey iWagon, and it is only 0.183 seconds faster. And then this is tied with the benefactor LM87. The reason this ranks higher is because whenever there's a tie, I then go to class. So sport comes before super, and so that's the tiebreaker. Had they both been in the same class, then it would have went to manufacturer, and then if it would have somehow been two from the same manufacturer, which has happened a couple times, it would have then been by the car model name. And then if they would have both been the same, that's impossible, so whatever. I guess the same car would tie with itself if I'm doing these right. But anyway, so out of the 94 sports car, this is now 23rd. It is 0.63 slower than the Bollican Envisage, and 53 hundredths of a second, 0.53, faster than the Ubermacht Sentinel Classic Wide Body. And for money fronts, it is 7th out of 10. It just mentioned that it comes in behind the Sentinel GTS by 3.07 seconds, and it knocks the Animus Minimus down one more spot, being faster than it by 1.65 seconds. So all in, the thing I've taken away from this is that these money fronts cars have all been like really kind of similar. I don't know that we've got a big spread here in the middle as I try to find my mouse. Yeah, we've got like, in fact, a 228's our current best and a 256 is our worst. So 18 seconds separating 9 vehicles. Actually, no, I take that back. We have the Tampa GT. That's a little bit lower than that, but still. Oh yeah, we gotta get everybody's jumps in here. That's why we are waiting, and you just gotta get everything in. But we got them in, and things happened. I was looking at my spreadsheet and not the video in front of my face, so sorry. But hey, you saw what happened. Wasn't that great when that one thing happened? Yes. So as we begin our next damage descent, once again, purely for science, not in any way for fun. If you are being entertained right now, then shame on you. You should be being educated, learning, soaking in the valuable knowledge that we are presenting in a very visual storytelling manner. Yes, it's okay if you're having fun. And I kind of hope you are, because I know there are thousands of things that you could be watching on YouTube right now, and you chose to hang out with us, help us celebrate this milestone a little bit, and I greatly appreciate that. It does indeed mean a lot to me that people continue to watch this series. This is the car where I got stuck. So initially there were cars waiting there, and so I saw them out of the corner of my eye. Now there's just a few body panels, but when I kind of glanced again out of the corner of my eye, they're positioned just right that I was just like, oh, there's still someone there waiting for me. Not realizing that I'm pretty sure that like 2 of those body panels were mine because they're both light blue. Yeah, it's just that we leave a lot of parts up on this mountain. But yeah, I do greatly appreciate all of you that have tuned in. And if you're a channel member, you get access to the behind the scenes version of the video, which is less edited, and you hear our Discord conversation. Plus, you don't have to watch ads, and that's available for not just channel members, but other ways as well. There's info in the description down below. And of course, we would love to have you take part in the videos with us. And all you need to do is join the Vainglorious Discord community and play on PC, and you'll be able to join. Rejected once again by the woodpile. Very, very, very sad. But gonna struggle to even get to where I normally do a thing. We're down 204.49. So let's take a look at the damage on the Dewbauchee. Most of the windows are gone. 1 headlight and 1 taillight's missing. Half the reverse light is somehow gone. Whatever. The hood, the doors are gone. The trunk will not close. It has bent wheels and ever so slight body damage. And that wraps it up for Willett Off-Road 250 as we take a look at our support vehicles once again from the front and then from the rear. And I know I've already said it, but again, even though we've now magically jumped back to the other car, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, I'm Brandon.
And I'm Sven.
And I'm your host, Non-Credit Rocket.
And I'm Hobo.
And I'm Dribbles.
And I'm Jack.
And I'm Charlie.
Reminding you to stay vainglorious.